This Saturday night, Jews and Jewish communities around the world will be celebrating Pesach, the Passover festival. And this, for the Jewish people, commemorates the freedom from the oppressive pharaohs of Egypt, where they were enslaved and prohibited from living their normal productive lives. And of course, Passover has a universal message too. It's a message of freedom, of liberation, of being allowed to practice what we want, where we want, and how we want. This theme of a nation being unable to practice their culture or their faith would resonate with many different cultures and civilizations. And there's an interesting parallel with Jews in the Soviet Union, where for many, many years, Jewish communities were prohibited from teaching their children Jewish history, Jewish education, Hebrew language, even prohibited from things that are core to the Jewish faith, such as circumcision, keeping the holidays, keeping the faiths, things that are core to Jewish belief. And what happened, because those things were forbidden, slowly Judaism was eradicated across many, many families. Of course, many of these Jewish families or individuals who wanted to practice their faith in the way that they wanted without oppression, they felt the best way to do that was to leave the country. Here there was a problem. As soon as you applied for an exit visa from Russia, you became what was known as a Refusnik. Your exit visa was refused, and as soon as you were refused, you also became an enemy of the state, which meant that you were removed from your job, you were removed from any position of power, and you became persona non grata. One of the organizations that was set up to help Soviet Jewry became known as the 35s. Now, this was founded by a group of 35 young women around the age of 35, all gathered in the UK, and these were mainly young married housewives that felt that they had to do something to support the cause. In Dublin too, in the Jewish community, many people also wanted to help. They saw what was happening with the Jewish community in Russia. They saw that they were living generally very difficult lives of hardship and starvation, but also the fact that their Judaism was being deleted, their faith was being forgotten, they didn't have access to things that they needed. And so they decided to join the 35s, and many of them actually went. They made these tourist trips and took with them artifacts for Jewish life, the shofar for Rosh Hashanah, or kosher food, or Hebrew textbooks, or prayer shawls, things that were so important. They took with them and helped support that effort of keeping the faith alive where it was forbidden.
My name is Myra Gruson. I'm a member of the Jewish community here in Dublin, and I went to Russia with the 35s. The 35s originally were a group of women in London. Various things had leaked out before, what was happening in the Soviet Union and the depression of Jews who were not allowed to practice their religion, and if they did oppose to it, they were put into labor camps. The 35s decided that they weren't going to sit down and they were going to demonstrate. They had been doing a lot of campaigning at the embassy, and it was getting a lot of advertising. And it was explained to us that because we were living in Dublin and we weren't part of the London set, it would be very good for us to travel to Russia to meet these Refuseniks.
My name is Estelle Menton. I live in Dublin and I'm a member of the Jewish community here, and I was happy to be a member of the 35s. I went to the Soviet Union twice in the 80s, and on both occasions to Moscow and Leningrad. We decided that we would try and help where possible by bringing over things that they needed, like medicines and warm clothes, and also things that they could sell in order that they could raise some money to live. Going into Russia was very, very stringent, going through customs. It was actually quite scary at times, really scary. We went on a British Airways trip, and we stayed in the Cosmos Hotel in Moscow, which was a huge, big 6,000-room hotel built for the Olympics. And during the day, we would go on all the trips, the sightseeing tours. It was fascinating. We went to museums. In the evenings, we did not go out with the group, because if there was any chance of meeting up with any of the people we were to see, it had to be in the evening when they would be at home. And we would have to make a contact with them on a public telephone, not in the hotel. We were told not to use the hotel phones, but go out and get a phone on the street and phone the numbers that we'd been provided with from the UK and arrange to meet. And on occasions, the people would come and meet us and take us to where they lived. On other occasions, they would tell us how to get to where they lived. It was very scary because we couldn't read the Cyrillic lettering, and we travelled by metro. We never travelled with a taxi. We only went by metro.
In the mid-80s, my friend Sharon Rosen, the then Chief Rabbi's wife, went to Leningrad. We went particularly to visit Orthodox Jews. It was the first week in March, and it was very, very cold. But we had all our instructions, which we'd learnt, and we went. Outside our bedroom door, all the time, every day and night, a woman sat outside the door. Now, we never spoke in the room. Everything we said, we wrote down. We had, of course, who we were going to see, where we were going to see. We had to memorize some of the undergrounds. We walked everywhere. So we had a lot of work to do. We had brought with us things that were requested by the people we were going to see, particularly wigs, because these were religious women, and it was impossible for them to get anything, and certain religious things. And most of them were religious articles. Challah decals to cover the bread, and praying shawls and yarmulkes, things that they needed for the religion that they couldn't get. So it was very much appreciated. The type of things that everybody bought was different. A lot of people bought things to sell, and a lot of jeans. A lot of jeans. I mean, we all left our clothes with them. They never had anything.
When I look back on that time, I'm very glad that I did it. It was an experience that I will never forget as long as I live. And one thing that remained with me always is how free we are here to be able to practice our religion without any hindrance. And it comes back to me, particularly at this time of the year, being that the Passover is just around the corner. And it's quite amazing when we think that the celebration of the Passover is the children of Israel being released from bondage and slavery in Egypt. And these people were virtually in bondage and slavery in the Soviet Union. And things have changed, I have to say, for them now. They're free to travel backwards and forwards. In those days, it was a one-way trip if they got out.
I felt very happy and excited to be able to go to Russia, to do something. Before that, when there was the Holocaust, we never did anything. We couldn't stand up and be Jews. We wanted to be Jewish. We wanted to do that and stand up and say, we're going to help. And us itty little bitty housewives, what could we do? But we went, and our excitement overcame the fear. And I have to say, we were so happy and proud to do it. We felt we were doing something. It was a marvelous thing. I think all the girls felt that way. We stood up for our Jewish people. How bad was that?
I suppose the Passover message for all of us is that there is hope out there. We need to look beyond, look for a time that the Iron Curtain comes down or the Pharaoh relents. But I think it's fair to say that most, if not all of us, have had difficulties struggling with the restrictions during COVID over the past year and more. But we do have to believe that the light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter as the sun of spring and summer begins to shine. Hopefully that light will get brighter too, and very soon we'll all be vaccinated and we'll be able to be out there back with our friends and family, rejoicing and enjoying life just as we did a year ago.